is going on, everybody? We are back. My
Yo!
name is Nick Valley,
My name is Jonah Dockenai,
and
and
this is
we're Rev Rock
Rev Rock
Revolution! And, dude, you almost got me. You almost got me there.
No. Every week, you know where I went wrong with that. You know where I went wrong with that, Jonah.
What?
I shouldn't have picked so high of a pitch. So you chose a lower pitch, so you had to use less breath support.
Yeah.
So you were able to sustain that longer. Noted. I'm gonna get you next week. One of these days, I'm gonna do it. And if you're watching our show for the first time, I apologize for that. But then again, I don't. I'm not sorry for anything.
Yeah, we are
welcome
not
back
sorry
to our
for
show.
anything we do.
Say on this show, this is just whatever. We don't care if we get canceled. Who cares? Welcome back to the show. Or if you're a first-time viewer, maybe goodbye if that turned you off. But if not, welcome to our show. Last week we had some really great rants.
Yes.
People were telling me that the title of the episode was very interesting because we want to be straight up with our fans. We want to give them, the facts and what everything, just the truth. People like to blur lines and like just, I guess, just try to Hollywood everything, and we're not about that. Obviously, if you watch the show, you know that. I stand by naming our last episode, Nick is not on drugs. Listen, just so you're all aware, Jonah doesn't have any part of the uploading process. I handle that part. So he's just as shocked as you guys when he sees the title screens and the episode titles for the show. You're welcome. I think that's the first, Jonas. I think that's the first time you saw that.
Yes, that's the first time I heard it. Dude, that's awesome.
All right. It's perfect. That's just how it was last week. But no, we talked about Grammy recaps from our predictions, and then we went on some really interesting rants. So you're gonna want to check that episode out if you want to know about that, because this episode is going to be totally off that.
Yeah.
we have some fun things. I don't know if you have anything to like update the viewers with, but I really don't. I kind of just want to do this. I don't know about you.
I actually have some things to talk about. For the first time, I'm actually talking about some stuff for my weekly update. So,
you know what?
That's
true. Actually, you do. I don't know what I was thinking.
I kind of teased this on Instagram, but I guess this will be the first official announcement. On March 8th, Jinx is back in the releasing game. We're releasing our first single of 2024 called Only Human. I love this song. This song I wrote before Pretty Little Lies, like a year before Pretty Little Lies, and just been slowly working on it in the background, working with Nick and I's vocal coach to get some of the high notes, because before I wasn't able to sing it. Now I can. I'm super excited to finally get it out there. So that was first announcement. And then second one,
more?
Well, I announced this a couple weeks ago on Instagram. I thought I might as well share it here. Jinx is playing our first music festival that we're on.
That's right.
Yeah, in San Diego on the weekend of the 23rd, 24th. We'll be playing on the Sunday. It's called One Love Lunar Fest. It's for the lunar eclipse. Tickets are on sale. Go over to our Instagram to check that out. And yeah, it's going to be fun.
Oh yeah, gotta love the plugging. Look, listen, Jonah is taking a note from me because I feel like I always take up the our weekly recaps with plugging. So I'm glad that you finally got that stuff in there, because we need more Jinx news. Obviously I'm showing up. I'm representing the brand.
Yeah. There we go.
It's important. It's key. This is a Jinx themed episode, just so you all know. Not enough about me for once. We've come a long way since the first episode. Yeah, no. If you guys think I'm bad now, you should go back to season 1. That was some crazy shit.
We
Um,
were. I
but
feel
yeah,
like we were
I'm
so
super excited.
unhinged.
I've heard
Season 1, we were so
season
unhinged.
1. You know what
Now,
it was
now it's
we
like
had no
controlled
idea what we
chaos.
were doing. Is what it was. Because we were just like,
It's just like
let's see what
me
happens
messaging
today.
you want to start a
We didn't
podcast?
plan the episodes. We would just have conversations. We just had conversations in the first episode. Like before we go into our episodes now, we come up with like a generalized thing that we're going to talk about. In season 1, we were just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
What happens happens.
Let's do a podcast.
Maybe we should go back
This
to
is what
that
we're
season
gonna do.
3. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? See what happens. I miss those days. The days where we'd spend an entire fucking episode talking about Kiss.
Kiss, yeah.
Uh,
Those were the
among other
days.
things.
Now we're
were
diving
the
into
good
some
old days,
territory
like
that
months ago.
we've never talked about, really.
No, and you wouldn't expect us to talk about this, and we normally wouldn't, but it's that time of year. Yeah, we're gonna talk about sports. Dun dun
Yeah.
dun.
We are now a sports
no, but
podcast.
we're now a football podcast. Well, we are because now football season ended. So just after this, just go back to our show. We are temporarily for an episode a football podcast. No, let's be honest. Us talking about the Super Bowl, because obviously that's what happened last week. If you're watching this now, it's not. We're not talking about football. I mean, we're not really going to talk about football. That's not our mo. But we will talk about the thing that everyone in entertainment news is talking about. So yeah, I know what Jonas knows what I'm referring to. It's the same person we were talking about the last 2 weeks. Shocker. Yeah, no, of course we're talking about Taylor Kelce,
Yeah.
Taylor Swift. Yeah, no, look, listen, I just want to send out a general message to my fan base because I don't know what it's like on your end, on your camp, on your side, but I know with my people, they have not all of them. I'm not gonna okay, my fan base is very divided. Half of them, the earlier people I know, are not fans of Taylor Swift. Like, they strongly hate her, and then I have the other half that tend to love her. So, and they argue with each other all the time in the Discord. It's beautiful to see.
That's funny.
But I just want to make a general announcement here saying no matter what's said, no matter what jokes are made, whatever, I'm not about. Look, listen, if you listen to a single thing I talk about or we talk about on this show, we talk about just all these haters and the negative aspect of the rock community. And we've had many conversations like that throughout the show, Jonah. I mean, yeah, I mean,
We've had
that was probably part of the
so
basis we
many.
started it. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that was part of the basis of why we started this show because we kind of wanted to address what was going on
Yeah.
a lot in the industry. Yeah, but I just wanted to address my fan community and say I'm not supporting. I don't like support any of the Taylor Swift hate. Look, you can think she's annoying, you can say what you want, but when it gets to the hate, like when it gets aggressive, and I'm sorry, I have to say something, guys. It's uncalled for. Like, you could say she's annoying, that she's too much, whatever. She's always there. It annoys you that she's always on the NFL. First off, that's not her fault. She's showing up to the games. The NFL is choosing to coverage her so they can get more publicity and they can get more views and all that shit. And they're the media business. Of course, that's their only goal. So, of course, they're going to broadcast Taylor Swift. And this is coming from somebody, like, I'm not defending Taylor Swift. I'm not a Swiftie. I'm not a big Taylor Swift. I'm not even a fan of Taylor Swift. Okay? Like, you all know this. But I won't stand for the hate. So I just wanted to say that going into this before we make some jokes about her.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
Agreed.
make that clear.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything to say, but did you?
Yeah. Well, my fans, I don't think I've ever talked to my fans about Taylor Swift before.
Yeah, I didn't figure that was your demo.
Yeah, I feel like Taylor Swift is just like a name that they've probably heard once or twice, and then it's like Metallica. We'll argue about Metallica and Megadeth,
We've done that, by the way. You should go to our
Yes.
third episode ever. Um, going back to the first season, gotta love it. No, man, I'm with you. I think it's really interesting. When we started this show, our demographics were way closer than they are now. So it's weird
Yeah.
doing the show now when we have two very different audiences, but they tend to like both of us because I think
Yeah.
personality wise, I mean,
Yeah.
we're like
Personality-wise, we're
like
really
two peas
similar.
in a pod.
Yeah, and also
So it
we
works.
both love the music, and I feel like that also translates to the
True.
fans.
True. I think we tend to attract people who like good music in general. So, yeah. I'm not patting our backs like, hey, we make good music, so we attract good. No. What I'm saying is, we tend to have good eggs. So, I mean, there's always weird people, of course, but that goes without saying. I mean, everybody has weird fans, but we love you too. Um, so that being said, we're 11 minutes into the episode. We're gonna talk about the Super Bowl. Jonah, how much of it did you watch? Did you watch the whole thing?
I watched
I would love to know like your.
I watched the whole thing. It was pretty good. I thought it was a pretty good game, pretty fun to watch. Niners starting
Yeah.
off strong, getting 3 consecutive first downs, and then they fumbled.
Yeah.
Right. Or for those of you who don't know,
Really did.
I have a lot of family in San Francisco, and I was born in San Francisco, so I'm a San Francisco fan
Okay, so you're
all
rooting
the
for the
way.
49ers.
Yeah. So yeah, after that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So nine. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed, and I was like, I was kind of questioning in that first like couple minutes, and then they were playing strong throughout, and then they got in the
Very.
second half.
They played a great game.
Yeah, they played really
They
good,
really
but
did.
then they just got tired and more tired, and their defense fell off.
And hurt.
Yeah, and hurt,
Yeah.
and then the Chiefs got that opening because their
Kelce
defense.
woke up.
Yeah,
Kelce woke up from whatever. Like he was in. Mahomes and Kelce were out of it. Just the first half of the game, just
Mhm.
completely.
yeah, but then
Kelce woke up at the
second
beginning
half
of
they
the second
showed
half,
up.
and then Mahomes woke up like the fourth quarter. So
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but something happened in that locker room.
Yeah,
maybe
I
it was a pep
I was
talk. Maybe
so,
it was Roy.
so
We'll
sad.
never know.
The Niners had that. The Niners had that.
I know.
They gave it
Well,
away.
Listen, 15 years ago they would have won, like just by the rules, like the way that football used to be structured. Like they would have won that game 15 years ago. So there's going to be arguments about who really won this forever, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm not like an avid football player. I'm a baseball guy. Baseball's my thing. I am in tune every season to the Yankees. Unfortunately, the last couple of years, and don't worry, when we get to the spring, we're gonna have some great conversations about that. But that's a moot point at this point. So yeah, that being said, I'm not really a huge football guy, but I understand the game obviously, and I just every once in a while check in. So I knew what was going on. I watched the whole game myself, and I don't really have any stakes in either team because, again, I'm a New York fan, and if you're a New York fan in sports, well, besides hockey, it fucking sucks to be you. So, being a Giants fan is not great anymore. So yeah, I really didn't have any stakes in the game, and I figured, you know what, I'll hop on the Taylor Swift, Kevin. I'll go for the Chiefs. So.
Yeah, along
don't
with
know.
Drake
Listen.
freaking betting $1.5 million or something like that.
I didn't see that. He bet
Dude,
$1.5 million.
Here, wait, let me fact check the number. But it was in the millions of dollars. He bet on the Chiefs winning, and I'm sure he was so happy when they won. Yeah, that's
You know who else probably
crazy.
bet a lot of money on the Chiefs winning the game?
Who?
But that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Every week we just get one step closer.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, it's gonna happen. See, Jonah, we're already talking about sports in the second season. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Okay.
It's just a matter of when. Probably in November. It's going to happen. With
Oh
that being
no.
said, you got what you catch what I'm throwing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna come out right here and say this. I don't give a fuck. I don't think the game was rigged. So anyone that's saying that, just
I
come
don't
on.
think the game was rigged
Come on,
either,
you better.
but it was so funny seeing all the comments was like, "It's scripted! It's scripted! Taylor Swift never loses! Taylor Swift always wins! Why does she always win?"
Ask Taylor Swift that. I don't know. Look, listen, the Taylor hate is out of control at this point. It really is.
Uh-huh.
Look, listen, I'm just gonna say this. It's dangerous to see any celebrity of that like level. Like she is, and we just talked about this on the show literally last week. She is Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley level famous. You know how fucking difficult that is to deal with? I
Yeah,
can
that's
imagine that is a nightmare. Artistically, that is the most gratifying experience. But as a
As a person,
that has to be the
no
worst
one
human,
wants to
one of
have
the
their
worst human
private
experiences
jet
on the planet.
tracked everywhere they go to see if they're gonna show up at a football game. That's
No one
that's
wants
like
to have a
that's like
camera in their
stalker
face
level.
for entire all the fucking time. Like
Mhm.
you wouldn't like it. So you know what? If you wouldn't like it, it's a common rule of life. We are taught this when we're children, and people don't seem to listen to it because they probably got hit in the head with a rock or something. But listen, that's why they're rock fans. Listen, I'm not apologizing for that joke. It was bad, but it was perfect, and not bad in the Michael Jackson way. It was just purely terrible. That I was gonna say, fuck, I hate when this happens.
Oh, you
What was
were
I saying?
you were talking about how people people have forgotten that to treat others like how they would be treated.
Oh,
It's the freaking golden
yes,
rule.
people
Yeah,
forget
we
to be-
teach that in school.
The golden rule, and everyone forgot it. Everyone forgot it, and it's a beautiful thing to witness. I'm being sarcastic, obviously. Yeah, no. So just leave this fucking woman alone. If you don't like her, don't give her attention. That's how she goes away.
Yeah,
People
and
are just dumb.
yeah,
They
I
don't understand-
guarantee
if
she
you don't
doesn't
like
want
something,
all the
ignore
attention
it.
anyways.
That's how it goes away. She doesn't. She just wants to make music, be appreciated by her fans for what she makes. And if you're not a fan of her, if you want her to have less popularity, then leave her alone. Because the media, every time they know every time they post a thing about Taylor Swift, their post is going to do really well. And you know how they know it's going to do really well? Because they're going to have a bunch of hate comments about people who hate
Yeah.
Taylor Swift. So just leave it alone and it'll stop. Fucking morons. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, no, the game was it was tight, man. It was, that second half was like nerve-wracking to watch.
Yeah,
That was a tight game, man.
yeah. Second half was crazy. I'm glad the Chiefs didn't get a touchdown at the end. I was getting kind of scared in that the second half that they were gonna do that, but they just went for the field goal to tie. But yeah, they should have, the Niners should have played better. They shouldn't have let them get so far in overtime. That
Well, the
Yeah,
Chiefs won
they're just-
anyway, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
If they would have, but the thing is, they would have went for the touchdown. They didn't get it. Then the Niners would have won. So, but
yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
the NFL is now the WWE, according to certain people on the internet. So, maybe that was the plan all along. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about the game, because I'm not an avid football watcher.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say about the game.
Me neither. I watch football every once in a while with my dad, and I was just curious on the
when I
on
watch
the-
football?
Huh?
When I watch football,
When?
Once a year during the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
That's it.
pretty much me. And I usually watch it for one thing, which is the halftime show.
Okay, I watch it for two things. I watch it for the halftime show, and I watch it for the commercials. We're gonna talk about those in a
yeah,
second.
commercials too.
Yes, the Super Bowl commercials are the best. I just want to say, and they're not as good as like 10 years ago, but they're good. They're still funny. There's just not as many because they're fucking ridiculous to get a plug. Now the cost is like it's like $1 million for a couple seconds or something ridiculous.
Yeah, that's great. All the movie trailers aren't even doing like movie trailers. They're just like a 10-second clip montage, and then it's like watch the trailer on YouTube.
Yeah, because they're like, I'm not gonna spend $100 million for a movie trailer to play during the Super Bowl. Look, I get it, but it works because then it takes people away and sends them down their path. It's smart. Yeah, no, but I do want to talk about the commercials because there's a couple of them that I thought were really funny. And then one I kind of have a thought on, and it might be again dangerous territory. I have one step forward every day, but I can't help myself. I have to say it. But I'll say, stick around for that. Yeah, so halftime show. Let's get into this. This is a can of worms. I would like for you to start this.
I didn't really have super high expectations. I know Usher is a good performer. He's been in the game forever. I don't listen to too much of his music. I know a couple of his songs, but yeah, in my opinion, it started off a little bit, or at least to me, like I wasn't like super interested. But then all the guests started coming in, and then that's when it was really exciting. Alicia Keys, then her, and then all the people that he's collabed with, Will.i.am, Lil Jon, Ludacris.
Lil Jon. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I
yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say something. I have the same exact opinion of you. First part was like, I started tuning out. Second part got really cool because of those guests, and then he started to bring it because he started like, I guess the energy of everyone around him, I guess, seemed to like lift him up.
Yeah.
So I have a couple comments about the Super Bowl that I just want to say. Halftime show, rather. Number one, I keep seeing this thing over and over again that Usher was lip syncing. No, he wasn't. Let me explain to you the difference between lip syncing and singing over a track. He was not lip syncing the entire performance. He was going in and out of singing over a track. There is a big difference. He was singing live, which I appreciated. I understand why the track is there, because when you're doing that level of dancing, you want to make sure you don't want to just sing like half phrases. I get it. I totally understand it. I was fine with that. I will say, and this goes into my second point, so I'll just say it. Number two, it felt a little too hard, like trying to be Michael Jackson, a little too hard. I mean, I'm sure you saw the single Sparkly Glove, which I get was like a tribute to him. I understand that part. That part was cool. I like that little tribute. But like the outfits that he chose to wear and like how he was doing the headset mic. I've never seen Usher in a headset mic. I'm just going to say that right now. So what I wanted to basically say with that is, yeah, it just felt very much like Michael, like forward, but when he was dancing, his pitch was like starting to fall. But like when you see the clip, even Michael at 50 years old with propofol every night, the amount of drugs he was taking, like his pitch like never faltered.
Yeah,
like, it was insane.
Dead on.
There is no. I just want to tell everyone this. There is no second coming of Michael Jackson, and anyone who thinks they are is dead wrong.
Just fooling themselves.
So yeah. And this is not me knocking Usher. This is just in general. So yeah, I want to say, Usher, to the people who think that was the greatest Super Bowl performance, you're wrong. People who think that was the worst Super Bowl performance, you're wrong.
You're also wrong. Yeah.
That was mid. It was mid. If
Yeah.
we're being honest, it was mid, except the finale. The finale was super exciting. If the whole show was like the finale, it would have been one of the better Super Bowls performances. It was much better than last year.
Yeah, I
It
agree
was
with
much better
that.
than bored pregnant Rihanna.
Yeah. Yeah.
And before all the feminists come knocking at me that I am going after a pregnant woman. That is not what I meant by that. What I mean by that is it limited her performance capabilities, and she should have done it this year
Yeah, agreed. And
because
she
it seemed like it was difficult for her to do that.
Yeah, it was difficult. It also seemed like she was trying to just get through it because she was probably uncomfortable
Yeah,
during the whole thing. Yeah, it yeah, I
that's
mean,
what I'm
it's
getting at. What
yeah.
I'm trying to say is that Rihanna is a much better performer than she gave that halftime show. She deserved a
Mhm.
better show. So I feel kind of bad that that was her moment. But yeah, so this year was better than last year. Um, it was definitely better than the Maroon 5 debacle, but that's one of the worst halftime shows I've ever seen in my life. Um, oh my god, we're just gonna get a discussion about Super Bowl halftime shows. You know what? Let me ask you: do you have like a list or like a couple of like favorite performances?
I yes, I have a few. Um I'm just thinking about the ones that I watched. Um I liked, or out of the ones that I actually saw like on TV. I liked Black
Live.
Eyed
Okay.
Peas.
Yeah.
I had a huge Black Eyed Peas phase, and I still love their music.
Me
Um,
too.
yeah,
Oh yeah, I
they're
used to
also
love them.
having Slash, and then Usher was also in that one. Um,
I
yeah,
think so.
it was the way they arranged everything was perfect. Starting with I Got a Feeling and then ending with the end of I Got a Feeling, just perfection. And
It's
then
true.
I also
Yeah.
like the Bruno Mars one with Chili Peppers. That one was really good. Uh yeah,
That one was
his
great.
yeah, I mean, of course I love Chili Peppers.
It's
And
Bruno
then
Mars.
yeah, and Bruno Mars is super fun. Also he's part Filipino,
And that
so
wasn't
rep the
even peak.
Filipinos.
That wasn't even that wasn't even peak Bruno Mars though. I mean, imagine like he did like a 24 karat magic like halftime show. Come on.
Yeah. That would
Yeah,
be
no, I
that'd
would
be
have loved
even
to see that.
better. Yeah, bring Bruno Mars
He
back
needs to
to the
come back.
Super
Has
Bowl
anyone ever
halftime.
done it? I know that he came back and he did a cameo with Coldplay, but has anyone ever done the show twice? Like just headlined the show twice?
I don't think headlined the show twiise, but I think Bruno Mars has been
Yeah,
in
I think
three.
he could.
I think Bruno Mars may have been in the most Super Bowl halftime shows.
Yes, which is deserving because he's
Mhm.
Bruno fucking. I mean, okay, I'm gonna take this back. I know they just said what I just said about the second coming of Michael Jackson, but if there is anything that's the closest, and it's different, it's a different animal. I understand it. Bruno Mars is like
Mhm.
his own thing, but if there's anyone who's the closest to that, it is Bruno Mars. Just the level of
Yeah.
dancing skill, singing skill, like production skill, like vision, like yeah,
Yeah.
he's just one performance
Yeah, just
quality. Yeah,
everything
he's
across the
definitely up
board
there.
is just maxed out
Yeah,
for him in his artist journey.
exactly,
It's crazy.
exactly. I'm surprised that if Bruno Mars came out like at an earlier time, he would have been one of those huge, like most famous people of all time. It's just the time frame that his career happened that he's not like the most famous person in the world, like Michael Jackson or Elvis or you know. I
Hmm.
think it's just the timing of his career, honestly.
Yeah, I feel that.
I don't think
I was
anyone's ever
looking
going to
at
be
his
that famous again.
me too. It's almost impossible now with how social media is and everything.
Exactly.
How
Because
much
there's
work
no
an artist
mystery.
has to
There's
do.
no.
Yeah.
But again, there's no barrier. There's no like the media is constantly covering it because there's no other place to see it, and
Hmm.
you can't like be mysterious. It's not the same world that we used to live in.
Yeah, I agreed. Everything being so fractured and everything. I was really surprised. I was looking the other day at Bruno Mars' discography, and he only has 4 albums, and he's been around
Oh, I know.
for so long. I was really surprised about that because you see artists like Taylor Swift, which released something like almost every year or every other year. Yeah.
Well, again, it's not me hating Taylor Swift. This is me poking. I'm making that clear to everybody watching. But I mean, yeah. So do you have any other favorite shows?
Yeah. I haven't watched the whole thing because I can't find a whole show of this one, but I love the Prince one. I didn't watch that one live on TV, but the Prince one
Yes,
really good.
that is my favorite halftime show of all time. I have a
Yeah.
full version of it. I have to send it to you.
Oh yes,
I just watched it
please.
last night.
Please, I need
I
to
definitely
watch.
will.
I see like clips here and there. I know there's the one with like the interviews over it. But like, yeah, I love that. I love that he doesn't
No. I
just
gotta send it to
play
you.
his songs. Like he doesn't care about showcasing his
Look,
music. He just cares about playing the
Tina
music.
Turner, Foo
Fighters.
Fighters. He cares about giving a great performance, and that's what he did. I mean, doing "Purple Rain" in the rain. Come
Yeah,
on, with that cymbal guitar. That's one of the most magical moments.
Perfection,
just in live
super
TV performance
iconic.
history.
Yeah, it's one of those performances that
He's
give
Prince,
you chills
you know?
whenever you watch it.
Well, that was Prince. I mean, it's really sad, honestly, that he
Mm-hmm.
passed. But I'm totally with. That's my favorite Super Bowl halftime show of all time. So I'm glad you brought that one up.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say this: I'm gonna give you a couple that I think were great that I watched on TV. I thought the Lady Gaga one was fucking awesome.
Oh
The
yeah,
level
yeah,
of
yeah.
show.
Uh-huh.
That was like, to me, I don't know, it just felt like the amount of time and effort she put into that show. All the different things she did, the dancing, the piano, the singing.
Well,
And
she's
she's
an
amazing. Another
amazing
one of those,
performer.
like,
She's an amazing performer, amazing musician,
talent.
and
Singer, just everything about another one of those, like, unbelievable. And she didn't need anyone to come out. Like, I'm just saying that was like, it was one of those shows
Mhm.
for me, at least. Yeah. The Beyonce one, of course, was fucking crazy because, again, it's Beyonce. I mean, that's all you need to see
Yeah.
and say. And that's it. That's
Just need to
case
say your
closed.
name, and then everyone
Um,
knows.
If Michael Jackson sang, like if he didn't lip sync the whole thing, I would probably put it on the same list. But because he lip synced, I can't. And this is my favorite artist of all time.
Uh-huh.
But I just, for me, I can't just because he lip synced. If he didn't lip sync, which I don't know why he did because he didn't need to, yeah, that would have been one of those perfect Super Bowl halftime shows too. Because the way it was set up and just choreography, it was a great show. And did you know that that was the first time in NFL history that the viewership went up during the halftime show?
Oh, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
You
I
don't
mean,
know the
it
history of
makes
the halftime
sense.
show then.
No.
Okay, let's put it this way: before Michael Jackson did the Super Bowl, and there were a couple of famous people, not that famous. No one was that famous, but famous people who kind of did the halftime show like inconsistently. There were like two or three, like, but before Michael Jackson, the halftime show was like marching bands and like ice skaters and like dumb shit like that. Like the
Oh,
Peanuts came out one year and did like a performance. I don't know if so. You don't know about this.
No.
One year, this is the worst Super Bowl halftime show in history. There was a magician who was an Elvis impersonator
Oh,
named Elvis Presto.
No. Oh, God. That is.
I have to send you the clips on YouTube. It's the most beautiful thing ever because he's singing like Elvis and doing the accent, but he's doing magic
while
tricks.
Oh, that's funny.
That so just so you get an idea, that was the standard and the like idea of the halftime show in people's head before Michael Jackson. So once again, changing the game completely and pioneering. So I will put
Mhm.
Michael on that list for that reason and his level of show. If he had actually sung, it might have been the greatest Super Bowl halftime show of all time. I don't know if you've seen the video of his halftime show,
Yeah,
but I
I've
thought it was
I've
great.
I've seen parts of it. Yeah, that it was pretty. I didn't know that he was lip syncing, but also I didn't I didn't
Yeah,
pay attention.
that close attention. I didn't realize it too. I never realized that my favorite performance of him of all time when he did Billie Jean that he was on Motown 25 that he was lip syncing. I just realized that very recently when I was watching it. I was like, this whole time, my whole life, the reason that I'm a performer, the reason I do what I do, I never
That
realized that he was lip
performance,
syncing
he was
during
not.
that performance. Crazy,
That's
right?
crazy.
That's a
Yeah.
mind fuck. But yeah, I mean, it's still great just because the reason was just how captivating he was. But still, it's still a shock. It's like the Mandela effect. Like I remember him singing this.
Yeah.
I don't know
But
how
then
much
he
you believe
doesn't
in
actually.
that, but
The Mandela effect, freaking,
we're gonna get into a
freaking
whole.
trippy. Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation, and which will
That's
probably
another
be for
episode.
another happen.
Maybe next week we'll get into the Mandela effect. Wow, imagine. Let's just do it. I'm down if you are.
We become
Yeah,
a science.
I want to talk
podcast.
about the. I want to talk about the commercials real quick.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna say my favorite one was that Ben Affleck commercial.
So
That Dunkin' Donuts commercial was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Well, did you? That was a part 2. Did you see the first part of it on TV?
I saw the first
prior?
part. Yeah. Dude, I love ads
It's
that
one of the
actually have a
funniest
storyline.
things.
That's
Yes,
so good.
me too. Well, it gives you something to follow. Like it makes you excited to see a commercial, which is like a hard thing to do as an advertiser. So I think that's a good like rule of thumb. If you can like create character and create story in commercial, people automatically hook because a good hook and a good story is everything nowadays. That's just people on social media. Like that's just how people are wired. They want to. If they're intrigued, they will keep watching. That's the best way to intrigue people is to hook them in with a story. But yeah, that was my favorite ad. I mean, the other one that was my favorite, and then this is going to be the statement that's going to kind of make us a political podcast, but it's not. But by the way, I don't know. I'm just going to say, if you follow me on Instagram, I tend to post like just generalized things because I'll just say this right out and just say this. I'm a centralist, so I don't lean any way. But I will say this, that I don't know if you saw that ad where it was like, in order to remember something, you have to forget something.
Oh yeah.
The Uber ad
Yeah.
with Jennifer Aniston to remember, Dave Schwimmer, and okay. So you know how those Ben Affleck commercials? I think it's perfect because he's poking. J-Lo and Ben are like poking fun at themselves. So it's like, what are the trolls gonna say if you're making fun of yourself? You know what I mean? And I've thought about doing this. I don't know about you think about this. I'm going to just run this by you right now live on air. What do you think of the idea of like me because I always get these hate comments or whatever. And not always.
Yeah.
And my mom kind of came up with this idea, but I think it's brilliant. What you think of me because like in the video, Ben Affleck they're basically like saying everything that everybody says about them. And like just playing that out. So I was thinking about maybe like doing something like that, like in social media videos. I just like because like what are you gonna do at this point if like I'm like you know what, I am.
Yeah, I think that would be really funny. You could kind of format it like those videos where it's like, of course I'm this. We da 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 da. Like you could be like, yeah, I'm Nick Valley, and I'm.
I'm Nick Valley. Of course I suck at singing.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect. I think that's great. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna film that video like right after we get off the.
And you could do it into
but
like
my point of
separate,
saying that
smaller videos too. So then you could just have like a series of them each week. Do like a different one.
I'm doing it. I think that's a great. That's the greatest idea ever. Thank you for completing that thought. I love
Of course.
that. But I wanted to say this, and this is like the most and I think most people will agree with this, that it would be funny, because this is not me giving an opinion one way or the other. This is just me saying what would be funny. I think that because they were making fun of themselves, what are people going to say now? I think in that if you forget something, Ad, I don't know if you saw the Super Bowl, the president made the weirdest ad about inflation and the size of ice cream tubs decreasing and the price.
Oh yeah,
thing,
I saw that on
I don't
Instagram.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure people saw that. I think his time would have been better spent in a Super Bowl ad to be in that forget ad. You already know where I'm going with this. If he could poke fun at himself, I think it would bring a lot of things. He should have been in that ad, and he should have forgot he was the president. What are people going to say then?
That would be funny. Yeah, they wouldn't have anything to.
It would be brilliant.
Yeah, they wouldn't have anything to say because he's already poking fun at himself.
Because I will say this, I have learned as someone on social who's received hate, I've learned that getting angry about it and fighting people doesn't work. Being defensive does not make you look good at all.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
and I've learned that the hard way. This is coming from somebody who's done the same thing. I think that would have been a really fun move and a smart thing to do in front of the whatever it is, 100 million people that are watching. But yeah. It's an awkward note to end on. Please say something.
Yeah, that would be funny.
One just nervously laughing about because he's worried about sharing his political views. It's okay. You can just move on from that.
Yeah. Well, one of the commercials I was really looking for was the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer. I was looking forward to that for so freaking long.
I love Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
so.
I love Ryan Reynolds, and I've always wanted a Wolverine Deadpool movie because Hugh Jackman is gonna be Wolverine forever. If someone else takes on the mantle, people will always still think of Hugh Jackman. Yeah, and yeah, the trailer was pretty fire too, and I also hated it at the same time because they didn't really show a ton of things either that will happen in the movie, which is a good thing.
No, I'm with you. Well, because they can't, because they have to spend $100 million for a trailer.
Yeah, for an ad slot.
So I'm with you. No, yeah, that's the truth. And speaking of Ryan Reynolds, his wife Blake Lively, who's there again. Probably one of the best celebrity power couples out there. Come on, let's be honest. If we're being real, she was hanging out with Taylor Swift in the box. Of course, everybody saw it because NFL just can't help themselves. I'm knocking the NFL here. Yes.
Every single time
but
they
I
said
get it.
Travis
I'm knocking
Kelce, it went to Taylor Swift on the camera.
But look, I'm knocking it, but I get it because if I were a media company, I'd be doing the same thing. So I can't hate on them for doing it, but you know they shouldn't, but they do it. But yeah, I'm sure you saw the box. We had Lana Del Rey, we had Blake Lively, we had my favorite human being on planet Earth, Ice Spice, ladies and gentlemen,
Grammy nominee,
Grammy nominated Ice Spice. Oh my god. But yeah, no, it just bothers me. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. And look, that's warranted. That's warranted. Okay, that hate is warranted. That's all I'm gonna. When you make songs about farts, it's warranted. I wish that were a joke. It's not true. By the way, I just want to say this real quick. Every time I think it can't get more grotesque and more twerkier and every year. There's a new rapper who comes along that just I thought this is the worst it's gonna get. I thought Cardi B, this is the worst it's gonna get. And then Megan Thee Stallion came around, and I was like, this is the worst it's gonna get. And then Ice Spice came. So what the fuck is next? That's all I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
What are they planning?
It could always get worse. Yeah,
apparently. I mean, I feel
every once in a while for it to be better, but.
And you know why it bothers me? Because I'm all about the total inclusivity, men and women having the same level of nominations, being equal, getting paid this. I'm all about that. But it's degrading to that agenda and that positive moving forward when you have people like that who are completely degrading themselves. I saw this comment yesterday. It was like, I think we're this close to women just taking a shit in front of everybody on stage. And I was like, I feel like that's kind of true.
Yeah, that
Like,
yeah, that
it's
does
sad
seem
for me to see because I want that, but it just paints a very negative image on that brand, which I know most people aren't on board with. So that's my point of saying that. This is not me being some kind of misogynistic, like out of touch rock guy. And I'm going to repeat that over and over and over again. This is me just being about common sense. I've always been about common sense. And that's it. It's common sense. It's not okay to do that.
it is.
It's just,
I don't know. Entertainers just confuse me more and more as the years go on.
yeah, I don't get it. I told my mom the other day, and then I'm just going to close on this. If I had a time machine, I would just send myself to 1980 and I'd break it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. That'd
Okay.
be good.
So
Go
that
back
being
to
said,
the 80s.
So that being said, I don't think we're going to be able to end it on a better note than that, unless you have something else to say about this. This was
I don't have anything
this
else.
was not our normal like point of conversation or discussion. This was a weird episode, not as weird as last week, but it was different. This was uncomfortable. Last week was just like chaotic. This was uncomfortable. So that being said, we'll see you next time. Peace.